when I do this and I put it on pause, you still take it from there, right?
No, I think last time we forgot to make me host. That's what it was.
Okay. But once I make you host,
Yeah, once we make it, I can take it off of pause and pick it up from there. But
okay.
you want to log on to YouTube first.
Right, that's what I'm doing now.
Okay.
Oops. Make host. You got it? You're muted. So be prepared. Some maybe at 7:30, I might be bringing it to an end,
Seven
depending
thirty.
on depending on how my energy.
Okay. Okay. Of my own heart.
Say go.
We're on.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Rainey Speaks. I'm Rainey Cheeks, and I am your host. And I am so glad to be with you this evening. I'm a little, I'm excited about just sharing different concepts with you. And so tonight, my title is, What Time Is It? And when I say that, I'm talking about time as in seasons. Most of you know that I trained as a martial artist. And one of the things that my teacher did, we practiced certain techniques at certain times of the year. We may do some of the techniques. I'm just going to say the winter technique. We may do a little bit of it in the summer, but in the summertime, everything was stretched out, long kicks, long movements, long, fast things, because that's the pace of the earth. When the fall came, we would get more into grappling. And I used to hate it, but he would pull out this long green mat. That meant that you're going to start rolling and falling. And during the winter, the fighting style changed. And one day when I asked him, why do we do so much grappling in the winter? He said, because in the winter you have on coats or jackets, you're inside. There's no room for long range stuff. In the winter, the reason why we practice falling so much, because there's ice on the ground. You're probably, if you slip, you know how to roll and come up out of it. And one day I was out and I fell, I slipped on ice and I did a forward roll and came up out of it. And I was like, whoa, the old man was right. So the same thing I find in what time of year I do certain rituals in the church or do certain events in the church. I was raised Roman Catholic and they follow the life of Jesus. So in Christmas, all the rituals of the birth and the rosaries and the prayers. Then in the spring, it usually lightens up. You're following the life of Jesus. And then in the fall, it was beginning to, again, do certain prayers because it started moving back indoors. I followed basically that same ritual, that same process in my life. In the summertime, I do things and rituals that I can be outdoors and go to the park and go to the river. And then in the fall, there are some rituals that I may move from the river to the forest. And in winter, I'm mostly indoors. And the cycle, so understanding the cycles, and that's how I work, okay? Um, I just have to laugh so much because sometimes I can't read my own handwriting. um, so I follow the cycles of life. I follow the cycles of and in the cycles of life in everything that I do. In the summer, the earth rhythm is faster. In the fall, the earth rhythm slows down. In the winter, the earth rhythm, all here's the key, follow nature, follow animals. In the summer, they're running wild. In the fall, they begin to hunt to store up food. In the winter, they're hibernating, or they have prepared with loading up on food to get through the cold and get through the winter. You know, we used to laugh and say, follow the squirrels. In the fall, they start gathering nuts. In the fall, they start getting fat. And then so that they can get through the winter. And then when the summer comes, you find them running all over the trees and being active. So that's one of the techniques that I follow. I know what time it is, so I know what how to approach the growth process for myself. Oh, hot water and lemon. Um, so pay attention to the rhythms of your life and excuse me, pay attention to the rhythms of your life and you will know, fall in line naturally with the things that you should be doing. The same ritual that you may do in the summertime, that if you have to do it in the wintertime, if you pay attention, the rhythm of it is a little different. So pay attention to the rhythms of your life, when to be in and when to be out, and when to express yourself. And it will put you in sync. You remember, I keep talking about being in line with the energy of your body. So you always pay attention to what time it is, just like we all pay attention to how to dress and one part of the year versus the other part of the year. So then when it gives you more control over your energy. Mm-hmm. Um, so when I ask the question, what time is it? The question isn't not the physical time, but the rhythm of the earth and the rhythm in which you operate from. It makes a lot of difference in how things manifest and how you get through controlling the energy around you. Okay. Um, so it's summer. We're moving in, not moving into, the hot weather is here. Now, I realized this today, in South Africa, it's their winter. It is cold. Young man called me, had on a coat and a hat. It's winter. So our summer is their winter. And I never thought of that until recently. You know, we always think, oh, well, all of Africa is hot, but not South Africa. South Africa have the same seasons that we have, summer to winter, and they live through that. And then one of my friends there said, "You have seen the blankets here. Why do you think the other blankets are so thick?" And I was like, ah, okay. So even they move according to the rhythm of the energy of the earth where they live. And so wherever you are, follow the squirrels. Follow the squirrels. When you see the squirrels gathering nuts and storing them, gather your nuts and store them so that you're prepared for the next season that's coming. I'm going to say this early. I know that I'm not going to be on long tonight. I have pushed my body, and it is beginning to rebel a little bit. But so I'm just going to share some thoughts with you. Uh, and what I find is if I pay attention to the rhythm of the earth and match my body rhythm with the earth rhythm, things happen smoothly because I'm in sync with Mother Earth. And um, and listen, anybody, you know, right now we're just talking over stuff. If anybody have a question or anything or a comment, jump in. But I just find that, like I said, in my training, this started in my training in martial arts, that when my teacher, we would train certain techniques at certain times of the year. And when he was training me to teach, he always would say, pay attention to the rhythm, pay attention to what time of year it is so that you understand what techniques to teach. And it was very, very practical. He said, slipping and falling most of the time is going to happen in the winter or the fall when the ice come and cold weather come. Uh, if you do get in a fight, the grappling and all of the locks and things would happen usually in the fall and the winter. Um, and so I'm just going to encourage you to pay attention to the rhythm of Mother Earth, and she will guide you to do everything that you need to do. There was something else I wanted to talk about. Ah, um, any comments on anything so far?
Yes, well, why would the different times of the year make a difference for that the martial arts, the training for that? Why would that?
Because in summertime, we were in competition. In the wintertime, we went into grappling. And so he, like I said, he said, pay attention. The ice is on the ground in the wintertime.
Okay.
You most likely are not going to fall. But most schools don't do that. This was his way of teaching.
Okay.
And everything went with the seasons. We studied healing techniques in the spring and in the fall. It was just, again, watching Mother Earth. The things that were Mother Earth was presenting to us in the spring was different from what she was presenting to us in the fall. So that was that method. And I have to say, you probably won't find any other school that would teach it like that. That was the old man's technique of teaching us how to make it practical. And then our energy moved with the seasons. We were very active in the summertime, and we were very inward stuff, all of the inward techniques, especially in the winter. And so it was like our style was copying a lion and a bear. And so he said, pay attention. So even in your life, the things that you may do in the summertime should be a little different than what you're doing in the wintertime. How many of us have house parties or gatherings in the wintertime, just friends coming over to socialize, that in the summertime, just like meet me in the park. You know, when I do couples counseling, I always say, you know, people get together. If you meet somebody in the summertime, need to be prepared for them in the winter. Or you meet them in the wintertime and they want to cuddle up with you all the time. The summertime coming, they up and gone. And you're going, you're not here. And they go, it's summer. So it's just understanding, pay attention to Mother Earth and the rhythms.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
You know, it's funny because I remember when we were kids how we naturally had to follow this rhythm. You know, during the fall, my mother would be canning and putting away food that she had gotten. So this was the old norm, but now the new norm, people haven't got a clue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the same thing is eating foods out of season, causing a lot more illnesses. People not knowing how to eat for the heat.
You know, one of the things that I learned, the basic food that you eat should be in 50 miles of where you live, should grow within 50 miles. That should be your main food. You can eat food from other places, but your mainstay should be the food that grow 50 miles of where you live. And when I first asked that question, why? They said, because the minerals of the earth in that 50-mile radius matches your body.
Right.
And so eat corn in the corn season, eat cabbage in the cabbage season, eat, you know, and I did Us Helping Us, and that's one of the things we used to teach people. Mm-hmm. Eat the food, your main food should grow 50 miles where you live. Somebody asked me one time, how do you know? I said, go to the farmer's market. They're all around. They come within 50 miles of that space.
Right.
And at least take a look at what they have, even if you want to go in the store and get it. But the farmer's market works well.
Absolutely.
Bishop, I just realized something. You know, in the winter, the late fall and winter, you teach on, you know, people become depressed during that time. And what you just said, it reminds me that when people, you know, gather into houses, and that's what we do, like normally you would gather together, but that would circumvent the depression and all of that takes place during the late fall and those seasons.
Yeah. And that's why, I mean, this COVID thing had a lot of people depressed because people didn't go out with each other and had to stay in the house and be by themselves. And now it's really crazy because all of the trauma that is happening with these shootings and stuff with people. I mean, it just blew me away that this young boy was able to buy a gun and high-powered magazines and do what he did. But that's a whole a whole nother thing. But what I want to say to you is, if you pay attention to the rhythms of the earth, you will stay more centered with your energy, not following other people. Like again, in the summer, the energy should be outward. Get out of the house, do things. That's summer energy. In the fall, we start changing clothes. We put on jackets. We are still able to get out, I'm only speaking for myself. I walk on the earth. When I get to the parks, I take off my shoes. Sis, this is one thing I never forget my grandma said to me. She used to tell me, take off your shoes and go outside. And when I asked her why, she said, what's the biggest magnet you know? And I named different magnets in the house. And she said, not even close. And then so I named the magnet that was at the junkyard that picked up cars. And she said, not even close. And I was like, what magnet could be bigger than that? And she said, the earth. She said, you take your shoes off to walk on the earth so that it pull all of that energy that you don't need out of your body. And she said, I know because she said, and you think you're smart. So in the summertime, when I go places, I will take my shoes off just so that I can put my feet on the earth. And I do it also in the fall, not late fall, early fall, because the rhythm of the earth is changing. And then I move my energy inward so that along with taking my shoes off, yes, I'm a tree hugger. I sit with my back against a tree. This also came from Grandma. I remember one time she told me to climb that tree. I was angry about something. And I asked her why. She said, because the tree is older than you. It knows what to do with you. Just go climb the tree. And you know what? You can't stay mad real long if you're sitting up in a tree. So I would climb the tree that was in the yard. You know, we had several trees in our yard. So again, this is using the energy of nature to match our body rhythms with it so that things are really clear. I would suggest everybody every once in a while, go out and just walk on the earth. If you don't want to take your shoes off, it's okay. I take my shoes off. People that work with me know that in the summertime, I will take you to where the creek is running and running water. Take your shoes off and stand in the running water and pray. And it's like, why? Because it's taking all of that energy from you. It knows what to do with it. The river is strong. These are just natural things to do, controlling your energy and the force, and then you're in line with natural forces and you get more done. Any other questions? No? Good. Okay. I just want to do this as a reminder. Don't get caught up in all of the politics stuff that's going on. Not when you're trying to focus yourself so that you can grow. Remember, even Jesus had two parts of his ministry. The inward part, which is the outward part, which was exoteric, and the inward part, esoteric. What is the exoteric part? When he said, whatever you do to the least, you do unto me, exoteric. When he said, uh, feed people, clothe people, shelter people, pray for people. That's putting energy out. That's the exoteric. And so a lot of churches focus only on the exoteric part. And then you have other churches that only focus on the esoteric part, the prayers, the meditations. Um, I'm talking to a group now, and they don't get involved with protests and stuff. They just stay in their space for prayer. But I also met this Native American woman, and I cannot remember the name of her tribe. She was up, I think she's up in Montana, and all of her rituals is about healing with Mother Earth. And it's all inward directed energy. And I do work on the art of loving yourself, the healing yourself from being wounded when you were a child. And that has to heal before you can be whole and complete. And so hopefully in the next year, she and I will begin to do some work together. I'm going to Phoenix, Arizona. I am so looking forward to that. I have never been there. And I will meet with her to talk about the healing techniques that she used for healing the wounded person inside. And she wants to know what work do I do with loving yourself? Because if you don't do loving yourself, you can't heal. You'd have to know that you are whole and complete and precious just as you are, and not let the wounded child in you govern your life. So that's an interesting part that I'm looking forward to doing this summer. Well, actually in another week. I hope I answered that question. So, and for those that are priests, you may find that at certain times of the year, the rituals that you do feel more powerful than other times of the year because you're in line, you're in sync and in line with Mother Nature to get the prayers done. I had a conversation with somebody recently, and they were talking about the power of the Pentecostal church and the prayers, the fiery prayers of the Pentecostal church, and nobody else does that. I said, don't underestimate. I said, you've never been in a Catholic church when they're doing novenas. You've never been around priests when they're doing rosaries. It may be different, but the same power is there. And so you have to understand how you invoke that power in your rituals. I've learned over the years not to be judgmental about anybody else's process. They look different, but the deeper you go, you realize they all end up in the same place and they all end up with the same energy. And it may not be the path that you would take, but it get them there. Yeah. It gets them there. When I first went to a Pentecostal church, I did not understand one thing that they were doing. Speaking in tongues and shouting, I was like, oh no. I said, I'll stay as long as I hear the word Jesus. But and I remember the young lady that invited me there went into the spirit and she was shouting. And when I called her name 3 times and she didn't answer me, the woman on the other side said, give me your hands. I was like, huh? She said, give me your hands. And we locked arms around her and she was shouting. And I went, Nisi, Nisi, Nisi. And she didn't answer me. I said, let me go. I got this. I picked her up and walked down the center aisle and took her outside. She was in the spirit shouting in my arms. When she came out of it, she looked around, she said, where are we? I said, we are outside. You didn't answer me and I didn't know what was going on. So we are outside till somebody can explain to me what was going on. She said, I'm so embarrassed. I said, I'm not, okay? Nobody was explaining anything. It just happened. So if you look at everybody's techniques, no matter which religion, usually what people see is the surface techniques, but there are techniques behind the door that guide spiritual leaders into deeper prayer. And so that's why I said to the people the other day I was talking to, I said, no, it means that you don't understand the rosaries, you don't understand benediction, you don't understand what's going on behind the door. And those prayers are heavy. I remember taking a friend one time, somebody was in last stage and the holy unction, we walked in the room and they were praying and it was holy unction. And he looked at me, I stepped in and started the prayers with them. And it just got really intense. And later he said, I've never seen that in the Catholic Church. I said, yes, yes. I said, that's why I told you, don't make the mistake to think that they do not understand the rituals or the power that you call forth. And each one of us, I have become such an eclectic person that I use all of what I know to get the results that I need. Anybody else have a question? Okay. So that, and this is something else that we have to learn, self-care. I have pushed myself the last couple of days and my energy is, I'm a little burnt out. At first I said, don't go on tonight. Then I said, no, just go on and explain a couple of things about rhythms and Mother Nature and see how you feel around 7:30. And I'm okay, but I don't want to push it much more than this tonight, okay? Let me also say to you, I think most of you know that I've become the spiritual director of the National Spiritual Science Center. And later, this format will flip. When I first started, I said I was going to do this not once a week, once a month. And I realized I've done it every week for 2 months. And I'm like, wow, okay. I have a couple of more people that I have invited to come on to hear their story and their journey. And one is Reverend Dominique. And she will be on, I think this is right. Okay.
Bishop, initially I had her down for the 14th. We had her for July 14th.
Okay, so we had to change that and we'll get back to her. But a wonderful sister has I've never heard her sing, but I understand that she will sing you up under the tables. And we want to understand, you know, women have a really different journey, which I find in every religion, to find their space and be whole. And what I will say to all of my sisters, really work at self-care, really work at healing your inner wounds so that when you stand in that space, you stand whole and complete with not judging anything one way or the other. And that's a lot of work. I know that I had to do it as a Black gay man, that I'm comfortable in my skin. And when I say that, when I was first around traditional churches, and I had to get comfortable standing in my own skin in those spaces and not care what someone thought about me. And it helped me a great deal. In fact, it helped heal several ministers. One time they came, I had a call and they asked, could they meet me at church? And I said, yes. And I got there and 5 different ministers walked in. We're talking Baptist, Pentecostal. And they said, we want to talk to you about your sexuality. And I was like, oh, here we go. And they said, you are so comfortable in your skin. How did you get there? And how do you rectify this? So I walked them through scriptures. And basically, you cannot find one scripture that Jesus said anything against anybody who was gay. He just didn't. As a matter of fact, there's only about 6 scriptures you can find where Jesus said something about, who you were with. There's 300 and some scriptures on people and heterosexual relationships. So I told them, I guess the heterosexual people need more rules than us. They're out of control. But when you understand, and lately, I don't know if any of you have noticed, Creflo Dollar has admitted that his teachings were wrong about tithing. And I've said that the whole time. In the Old Testament, everything about tithing is Old Testament. New Testament, it was about being part of a community and sharing what you have. It doesn't say how much. And somebody said, what did I think about it? I said, well, growth comes in many ways. The question is, what is he going to do now? Because he made millions of dollars from people tithing. He's got jets and Rolls Royces and, but God is working with him. I don't judge it one way or the other. I know that my blessings, and at church, I said, if this place bless you, then bless us with whatever you can give. And watch the blessings come back. But I teach it from the New Testament, not from the Old Testament. So, good people, I'm going to ask for your prayers to keep me up and going. I need to take a break tonight. I hope something that I said helped you in some way. If anybody have any questions before we go, put it to me now. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We thank you for the time that you have shared with us.
The other thing that I'm going to ask everybody, when you go to YouTube, please click like. It helps where it falls in line. So whether you go back and look at some of them, share it with people, tell them to click like, and it will help the rhythms of how much I get. Like I said, I will be teaching. I'm the spiritual director of the National Spiritual Science Center. I think last week that I explained spiritual science, did I not?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Um, uh, it is proved. Science says there's first theory, then practical, and then an outcome. And can you get the same outcome every time you do that ritual, every time you do that prayer? Everything has to be lined up on your side and on the other person's side. So yeah, that's spiritual science. There's a method to this madness. And what you want to learn is, how do I get the results from my prayers, from my meditations, from the rituals that I do every time that I do them? The key for you is to understand your rituals, what you're doing. Sometimes other people are out of sync. It's like not your business, but you guide people in the process. All right. And I want to thank everyone that have ever contributed to Rainey Speaks financially. It has been a blessing. And know again that I pray over everything that comes, that it will return to you 100-fold. So that if you give $5, whether you give $50 or $100, I literally pray. You find when I click and a heart comes back to you, that meant that I just prayed over your money and that it will bless you. Well, I thank you, and I'm going to say good night while I still have energy to get through the night, okay? Today is, you know what, I have to remember, today is Thursday. So I go to dialysis in the morning. All right, everyone, anybody else have anything they want to say or question before I leave?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Bishop.
you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for being a blessing in my life.
My blessing. And so in the fall, this whole format will change so that I will be coming through spiritual science. And I have other teachers that are going to join in to help teach. And I'm excited about that part of it too. Well, good night, everyone. And thank you for joining me right here on Rainey Speaks.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you,
you,
thank
thank
you.
Get some rest.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. You know what? I have to laugh and go, yeah, you're 70. For everybody that's over 50, it starts at 50, but you don't recognize it. And then as time go on, you start going, wait a minute, I can't make that one. Yeah.
You ain't never lied.
Yeah, there was a group of my friends, we were together the other day, and we were talking, we stopped recording.
Yes.
What we were going through with our bodies at 70. And when I said that I was 70, everybody else was like 72, 74, 79. They were like, please, you just started. Yes. But so yes, I'm aware that, you know, I can't run like I used to, but I tell people, don't count me out. I might get there later, but I'll get there.
That's right.
Right on. Right on.
Yes.
Yeah, Pearl.
Hello there, my loves.
Celestia.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm
Hi.
good.
Well, everybody,
Rest well.
okay.
All right, yeah, you some
Okay.
rest. Good
Get some
night.
food.
Good
Yeah.
night.
Celeste.
Where's that? Wait. Where's the chocolate?
Right there in the kitchen.
Okay. Let's check.
It ain't too far away, trust me.
Okay.
Well, go get your chocolate and then go Go relax.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Good night, everyone.